Okay, good afternoon, and it's afternoon down here as well as up there. Sorry about that, but I spent some time with my friend Lucy, my dog. We went outside and we stayed outside for a while. There were some other people around, other dogs. Lucy was having a good time, and I don't take that away from her. Okay, so let's start off with the Vance attack on Walsh, saying that his military service is sort of bogus. He did 24 years and then he took off and didn't go to Afghanistan. You know, that was another one of those. That was another one of those wars we were never going to win. So I don't blame him for that. I'm not going to get upset about that too much. But he didn't do it for the reasons they said. You know, they're trying to portray. And if you're going to talk about guys in military service, hello, Donald. How your bone spurs doing? You know, he can walk a golf course. He can play golf. There's nothing wrong with that man. There was nothing wrong with that man. That man did what a lot of people I know did. They paid off a doctor. I couldn't pay off a doctor. I didn't have the money. I had to do something. I didn't want to go, so I joined the National Guard. Came very close to going. Had they convinced me to re-enlist, which would have taken a miracle, I would have ended up in Vietnam. So anyhow, now, this is just a ridiculous thing that Vance is doing. I mean, he spent 24 years in the National Guard, and then he left. You're going to say he didn't fulfill any kind of military commitment? You say he's a coward? Please, look to your right or your left, whatever side DJT is standing on, and tell him, hey, asshole, how's your bone spurs, huh? The guy had, I mean, please. A lot of people paid doctors back in those days. That's a thing left over from the Revolutionary War, you know? Only in the Revolutionary War you could pay somebody else to do your fighting for you, you know? Donnie's the biggest coward on the planet. I'm not going to get into everything with him, you know, but just stop the bullshit trying to make Walsh look like a coward or something like that. You know, you're going to come up with something because you can't fight the issues. You can't fight the man, so you fight a theory. You present a falsehood, and you go with that. Vance is the biggest two-faced motherfucker on the planet. I mean, here's a guy that said Trump was Hitler, and then turned around and supports him now. Okay, he's his vice president. Come on, people, wake up. You see what you're dealing with here? This is a moron. These two guys will do anything to become president and vice president of the United States so that they can tell you what to do. They want to control every aspect of your lives. Women, they want to be in your doctor's office during pregnancy tests and everything else like that. Come on, let's get with it now. Huh? It's time to get rid of these scumbags. It's, you know, tell the Republican Party to just go away. Don't even, it's just stupid. You know, and the problem is that there are some good people running for election under the banner of MAGA because they think that's the only way they can get elected. That's just disgusting. All right, what's next? Oh, yeah. The Walsh did 24 years. How many months, seconds, or hours did you do, Donnie, baby? All right, now, ISIS is getting out of control again. They appear to be targeting, from what I'm reading, they're targeting young people, and they had converted a young Australian man to commit suicide, to be a suicide bomber at a Taylor Swift concert. And the concerts were estimated to have 65,000 people inside and 10,000 outside. His plan was to drive a car full of machetes and knives into the crowd and set off a bomb and kill as many people as he possibly could. you know, besides making no sense whatsoever, I mean, these guys are just, why? What did she do to you? What is she standing up because she stands up there and she dresses scantily? That's against your rules? Hey, say hello to Donald. Donald doesn't want that anymore either, you know. J.D. Vance, the ultra-conservatives, you know. Look, she's a great talent. She's not up there doing suggestive things like some of the other singers and whatnot do. So leave this lady alone, because if you you'd really want to have a problem, go after this lady and see how many people in the world want to see you dead. That's just, you know, ridiculous crap. What did they ever do to them? I don't know. Politics was always a dirty sport. I think it was, I forgot who they blamed yellow journalism on. That's kind of what's going on now. I forgot if it was back in the days of Rockefeller or somebody like that. I forgot who it was. I remember reading about it, but you know, it's boring stuff, so I'm not going to go look it up now. But you have to attack a man personally, all right? You know, if you found out he beat his wife, that's important to me, you know, because I don't want that man in office. If you found out he doesn't like animals, don't want that man in office. Look, if you want to you want me to be pissed off at Waltz, just keep talking about the fact that he's a hunter. I don't hunt anymore. I haven't hunted in 50 years. Okay? Because I got shot at a couple of times and other things that went on, but I don't eat the food. You know? If he's not a trophy hunter, if he's a food hunter, I got no problem with him. But if he's putting trophies on the wall, he's a scumbag. Now, you can go after him that way if you want. If you can prove it, that he's putting trophies on the wall. But with, you know, Donald Trump doesn't hunt because he's afraid of guns. He says supposedly he has a couple of guns in his Bedminster property or something like that. I don't know whether he has a couple of guns registered to him. They were probably given to him as gifts or something like that, because he's not going to walk into a gun store and buy a gun because he doesn't know which end you're supposed to point at somebody. You know, you have this idiot running for president on one side. Then he goes and he picks somebody I can't understand why. All right, this is a man that had nothing good to say about him 2 years ago. And now he's kissing his ass left and right. J.D. Vance is the ultimate opportunist. You know, he sees an opportunity, runs, jumps on it, and says, okay, whippy, let's go, Donald. I want to know what he's going to do when he loses. Now, I've heard Biden said this morning that they don't expect a peaceful transition of power. Well, that's going to be up to the general public, the local law enforcements, the electorate, and Joe Biden, how he handles the situation. Because until Trump is inaugurated, Biden is still president, and Biden controls all the military and everything. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Is that going to lead to, if he doesn't get elected, is that going to lead to a civil war? I think it'll allude to some conflicts in various parts of the country, but I don't think it'll lead to a civil war. I don't think people want to go around shooting their brothers, their cousins, their wives, and whatnot. Well, maybe their wives, you know, or their husbands, you know. That's that's not civil war. That's just marriage. I know I've had my ups and downs in my marriage, but you know, I'm 20 years into it now. What am I going to do? You know, I live in a country where I can't live by myself. I have, you know, I need support from other people. Now my body isn't. I'm not young. I can't run. I can't hike. I can't walk. I'm not even sure I can fly anymore. Between the vertigo and some other problems I have, sitting in a plane for 6 hours is not a good idea. Anyhow, getting back to where we were, I think going after someone's military record, unless you can prove cowardness to the extent that they should be charged with cowardness, I don't think there's anything you can say or do about people, because not everybody wants to go running around screaming and killing people. I don't know what J.D. Vance did in the military. I'm going to check that out when I get off this video today, and to see what exactly he did. He's a Marine. I know a couple of guys that were in the Marine Corps, and one of them was a nice guy, went through basic and everything else. Was basically what they call a rifleman, but he ended up cooking for his tour of duty, So I know other people that went in the military service that ended up with I don't know what they call it anymore, but the entertainment division. They took care of entertaining the troops and whatnot. They put together that stuff. I don't forget what they call it. It was USO, but USO wasn't military. That was basically, I think that was civilian volunteers doing that for the military. They were good too. They were good for people. I'm not so sure doing concerts and showing, things from home is a good thing when you're sitting in the middle of a jungle or something like that. I'm not sure that's the best policy you can follow, but it's the soldiers seem to appreciate it. A little bit of home. I think I would rather have. Today's world, you get anything you want on the computer. You get a laptop, and you can connect to the world. So it doesn't make much difference I don't know whether USO still goes around. But I just find it repulsive, and as well as unfathomable that they would call out Waltz on this military service when you have a phony-ass motherfucker like Donald Trump out there who didn't, who got out of it with bone spurs. Am I mad that I didn't come up with that? Not really. Because when I had a back problem, and 6-7 years before I was applying for a job for United Parcel, and I did what they, I said, do you ever have any problems? I said, yeah, I was hospitalized for like 3 days for my back, What they do, and they talked and said, what do you do? I just ran some tests on me and said, you're okay. And they went and talked to the doctor, who was a true scumbag, and he screwed me, and he told them that I had some back problems that could go out at any second. So I didn't get the job. Meantime, I worked in gas stations the rest of my life. Standing up, tending bar, working in gas stations, throwing beer kegs around and stuff, tending bar. Did nothing but physical labor for the rest of my life, and now I have some problems with my back. Yeah, I'm 78 years old. I'm supposed to have problems with my back, especially when I'm in a country where the average height I think is something like 5'7" or something like that, and I'm 6'2". And every chair is like built like a grammar school, and I'm not exactly grammar school. I wasn't grammar school height when I was in grammar school. So, and I guess part of my problem with my back. Doesn't hurt, just stiffens up every once in a while. I've got other problems now that would, are much, much worse than that, so I don't worry about it too much. But the Army doesn't really care. I had several excuses not to go. I could have beat the draft because I was an only child. My father was dead. My mother was single. Just, my father had cancer and was 9. Now, he wasn't dead yet. And my mother was about to become a single parent of me, when I was around 19, 20, when I got had to do the draft thing. But I didn't use any of that stuff to get out, and I was told I could have got out of the National Guard while I was in the National Guard if I went to told them what I told uh, United Parcel about my back, UPS. And my doctor told me not to do that. He said, because that'll haunt you for life then. He said, you will have a lot of trouble getting a job if you get a medical discharge. I said, well, he'll probably give me one for insanity. But I got out clean, 6 years, National Guard, bye. Didn't want nothing more to do with the United States Army. I told friends of mine that if you were going to join the military, to join the Air Force or the Navy. If you want to fight, you join the Marines, But I don't think Vance wanted to fight. I think that was just something he was forced to. He was obligated to do. And like I said, I'm going to find out what he did. If he served honorably, then that's fine. But don't go around telling people they didn't do, that they're cowards or something like that, because. Dude, I've seen the military fight. 90% of those people are scared shitless when they go into combat. Heroes are people that suffer from temporary insanity. They do shit that nobody else is going to do or should do. And I give them all the credit in the world. If they can come out of it mentally in one piece and they survived it, they deserve the medals they got. That's fine. I just say what they do isn't normal, though. And sometimes that's the problem, because people come back, they expect them to be heroes when they get out. That's not what they really want to do. They just want to get out and lead their life. All right, I've done enough. I'll talk to you tomorrow.